Okay, good evening, recording in progress. It is October 18th, 2022. I'm Glenda Carlin. And on Facebook, I'm Glenda Carlin Busick, B-U-S-I-C-K. And where I post these talks later is a YouTube channel called Glenda Carlin, A Course in Miracles, YouTube. If anybody wants to receive an email and do not get it, message me, private message me on Facebook, and I'll add you to my email list. So welcome, welcome. Holy Son of God, Nance, which is really God. Holy Son of God, Barbie, who's really God. Holy Son of God, Edward, who's really God. Holy Son of God, Gonzalo, who's really God. Holy Son of God, Sally, who's really God. Corrine, Holy Son of God, who's really God. Julia, Holy Son of God, who's really God. And Glenda, Holy Son of God, who's really God. Now, why we can say that, it's not arrogance, is there's only God. We've made all this other stuff up, but most people can't accept this. So that's why the Course first has you remember, recognize, awaken to your Christ self. And I study Dzogchen Buddhism, and that's teaching us that our natural Buddha self. Same thing. We have this innate, natural, holy, capital S self that's never been anything but holy, pure, innocent, vast God. There's no separation. Non-duality means there is no separation. There is no difference. We just have forgotten we're in a dream. Where else but in a dream can we make up something that has a power that seems to conflict with God? And within this talk tonight, I was writing my email, and then I've been sitting with it. But in that email, I've never really written it this way. It came to me how to explain this a little different. But just consider or think about, in God, we cannot defile God. You cannot defile purity, wholeness, innocence, purity. We cannot do that. So what I'm talking about is the direction. We cannot go the direction from this dual world with our projection and our thoughts. Mankind has thought these images have been projected into heaven, into God. No, no, no. This is a total movie, hallucination, dream, illusion. We cannot defile God. Now, what can happen, though, is that God's pure light can be brought into the illusion through Holy Spirit. I was rereading in the back of the book in the Manual for Teacher, clarification of terms, back in the miracle section today. Wow. And like you all know, every time you read something, you go, wow, look at what that means. Is that Holy Spirit is when we talk about and we call in all the enlightened beings, and I want to invite them in, all enlightened beings, all ascended masters, Holy Spirit, Jesus, Buddha, come here, help us. You're always here, but we're calling you in to help us, guide us, what to do or say, and to have fun, but have insights, and help us later with whatever comes up. Is Holy Spirit, that light can come into the illusion. And as you awaken, the mind has to awaken and the heart has to open, because we have believed these things that we're a body. So, and that's part of the atonement. I was looking this up about the atonement is that, and I've heard people talk about the atonement meaning at one-ment or just oneness. Atonement is so far reaching in that what Jesus is saying, the atonement's only concerned with the correction of perception. And the means of the atonement is forgiveness. So he's correcting our perception. And then when I, put in the Course in Miracles online version of the Course and put atonement in there, I mean, there's so many parts, pages upon pages of where the atonement is. But it says the purpose of the atonement is to dispel illusions, not to establish them as real and then forgive them. And see, that's the basic thing about advanced forgiveness, that Jesus says the same thing. We don't make somebody's mistake or error real and then forgive it. That's called forgiveness to destroy. Here's the purpose of the atonement, is to dispel illusions. The sole responsibility of the miracle worker is to accept the atonement for himself. This means you recognize the mind is the only creative level and that its errors are healed by the atonement. So our mind has made errors. It's made errors and mistakes in thinking. I'll be reading these more later, but atonement means correction or the undoing of errors. And then later on, when I was re-looking at all these things that I put in that email, and sometime if you just want to sit and read them, then it'll bring this more into your right-mindedness, bring it into your unconscious mind. And then what happens then, Holy Spirit uses parts of this and brings it into your conscious mind when you want to look at it or think about it or whatever. But here's what also I found in here that I had not found before. This is in chapter 14, section 5, paragraph 7. From everyone whom you accord release from guilt, you will inevitably learn your innocence. Now that's called the circle of atonement. You will find ever increasing confidence in your safe inclusion in the circle with everyone you bring within its safety and its perfect peace. Now, what I love about this Dzogchen Buddhism and chants and prayers and books I read about that Lama Surya-Dasa's retreats and stuff, they talk about these chants and prayers. It's huge. They give the benefit of meditation or contemplation. Turn it all over to your brothers to help them awaken from the dream. And I thought, I had not thought that way. It's embarrassing. I had not thought that way. I was so busy trying to wake myself up that I didn't think about, the magnitude of how you think of your brothers, how you think of yourself. Now, I was practicing Jesus's advanced forgiveness, where we think of the person as spirit, Christ, or Buddha, or ultimately God. In doing that, when I now look back on it, you release them from their falsities, from their dual thinking, because you're bringing light and truth to them, each person that you practice this on. But I hadn't really got it that's everything, is go and help your brother with your mind. Doesn't mean we can fix him. That's not the deal. This really came to me when I was doing this talk. We never, ever, each person's responsible for their own karma. They're responsible for their own cause and action. And for every action, there's a reaction. But those can be undone with this advanced forgiveness, meditation, and turning your day with the Holy Spirit. But before I forgot, because this was on page 5, where I pulled out, when I looked in Atonement and pulled out these paragraphs, from everyone whom you accord release from guilt, you will inevitably learn your innocence, and you will go within the circle of the atonement. But somewhere else, Jesus says, the atonement can't be done until this altar that we have, what's the word? Seemingly covered with darkness and don't remember what we are. There's somewhere here about the altar. Before I forget, I got to get this altar in before we meditate too. Bear with me, guys. This was so enlightening to do this. I thought you guys might enjoy it too. The altar, this altar. Okay, I want the altar, Holy Spirit. There's, and I complicated things. There's 8 pages here to look through. And when you proclaim your brother's sinlessness, guiltlessness, you make it yours. Okay, come on now. What this? The defiled altar. That's the word, defiled. So I'll just look through these pages. That's what I'll do. Here we go. Here we go. Page 7. Chapter 2, section 3, paragraph 2. For perfect effectiveness, Jesus says, the atonement belongs at the center of the inner altar. Now, when I read this stuff before, I didn't know what the hell an altar was. Well, it's not the body, it's the mind. But the mind, it's the pure, your pure Christ mind he's talking about here. Atonement, meaning that you undone your errors and accepted that you're guiltless. And you could do it in an instant. This doesn't have to take years. That you're guiltless and sinless. This was all just a damn movie, a dream that we were making up. But the atonement belongs at the center of the inner altar, where it undoes the separation and restores the wholeness of the mind. Before the separation, the mind was invulnerable to fear because fear did not exist. Both the separation and the fear are miscreations that must be undone for the restoration of the temple and for the opening of the altar to receive the atonement. So, wow, that's chapter 2, section 3, paragraph 2. I'm going to read on here. This is paragraph 4 in that same section. The spiritual vision, literally, see, that's what you're wanting to develop with doing these lessons, reading the text, doing other truths, turning your day over to Holy Spirit, meditating. You're going to have Christ's vision. Instead of seeing with 2 eyes, it's 1 eye. Through the 3rd eye, the vision of Christ, Buddha, God. Spiritual vision literally cannot see error and merely looks for the atonement. All solutions the physical eye sees dissolve. Spiritual vision looks within and recognizes immediately that the altar has been defiled and needs to be repaired and protected. Perfectly aware of the right defense, it passes over all others, looking past error to truth. Because of the strength of its vision, we're talking Christ and Holy Spirit vision, it brings the mind into its service. This reestablishes the power of the mind and makes it increasingly unable to tolerate delay, realizing that it only adds unnecessary pain. As a result, the mind becomes increasingly sensitive to what it would once have regarded as very minor intrusions of discomfort. Now, that's when 1 or 2 of you commented, "Oh, hold it, I'm feeling more misery and suffering." What he's saying here is what's happened is because you're doing these lessons, practicing that your brother's Christ, your Buddha, Jesus, that he says here, your mind will become increasingly sensitive to what it once would have regarded as very minor intrusions of discomfort. So you think nothing's happening while you're practicing this advanced forgiveness, meditating and turning your day on Holy Spirit, but huge things are happening. Your mind, the atonement, belongs at the center of the inner altar. And there must be restoration of the temple. I believe that's the Christ's mind, and the opening of the altar to receive the atonement. And Jesus talks about that. It's like a door. Like if there's a door, a hingeless door, you just walk straight in, and you don't have to delay. You can accept the atonement in any holy instant as you, in a second, remembering you're perfect. Now, granted, you may go back thinking these dual thoughts, but that doesn't matter because you have less dual thoughts, less and less often. So this has a cumulative effect and on your mind. So, good. So the circle of atonement, that's on page 5. I want to read that whole paragraph. That's chapter 14, section 5, paragraph 7. From everyone whom you accord release from guilt, you will inevitably learn your innocence. The circle of atonement has no end. Now, when he talks the circle, it's for me the highest form of getting at the top of duality, because non-dual is when you have that samadhi in an instant and you're just like, there's no awareness. So you don't even know you're one with God, because in dualism, there's no subject or object. There's nobody looking and aware, and there's no object to see. But in this Christ vision, you can live in this world awakened and illumined and realize the circle of atonement has no end, which means it's this circle, a literal circle. The arc of light that's imprisoned in most people's minds due to the thoughts of separation, a tiny little arc is like a pencil little mark, 1/8 of an inch. That's the arc of light that gets released. And as you undo more and more of these errors, just errors, not sins at all, just an error. And another crucial part of that is letting go of your personality, the self, the little s self, thinking you're a body, to where ultimately, because you're doing this advanced forgiveness work, you're thinking of yourself as spirit, just spirit and light, and the light's coming out every cell of your body. So in essence, there's really mainly just a little bit of skin there with light coming out all these pores. You just start to think of yourself that way, spirit, during the day. But anyway, what happens, this circle gets completed, which is all the sonship is really in the circle of atonement. They just don't know it yet that they're awake, because their timing is in their own time frame. But anyway, you will find ever increasing confidence in your safe inclusion in the circle. So there's the circle, the outline of the circle. Then within the circle, he says there's inclusion in the circle, with everyone you bring within its safety and its perfect peace. Peace then be unto everyone who becomes a teacher of peace. For peace is the acknowledgement of perfect purity, from which no one is excluded. And that's in our forgiveness document, that you are spirit, whole, pure, and innocent, always forgiven and released. Just that word pure goes right into your unconscious mind. And it's just beautiful, because you're thinking of that person as pure. And here he's talking about its peace is acknowledgement of perfect purity, from which no one is excluded. Within its holy circle is everyone whom God created as his son. Everyone's within that holy circle. Joy is its unifying attribute, with no one left outside to suffer guilt alone. The power of God draws everyone to its safe embrace of love and union. Stand quietly within this circle and attract all tortured minds to join with you in the safety of its peace and holiness. Abide with me, this is Jesus talking, within it as a teacher of atonement, not of guilt. So you can picture this during the day. That's, again, chapter 14, section 5, paragraph 7. Stand quietly within this circle and attract all tortured minds to join with you in the safety of its peace and holiness. Now, here's something that I've been doing that you could practice, and which is similar to what this is. Now, picture, of course, you are holy sons of God. That light that you are, that light comes in and it downloads, it fills your whole body. Well, picture that your arms are like the wings of an angel. Now, you've seen pictures of that. This came to me this week. An angel, you really are angels. You're really, truly holy, holy, holy angels, sons of God. We're sent here to help each other. But the thing is, picture your arms are these wings, feathered wings you see on television, movies, where I forget, John Travolta was an angel with wings. But picture these wings. So we're going to slightly do a meditation here. So let's just, I'll back up here just a second. If you want to relax, a second, take a breath and just relax. We're going to do a brief meditation and use these angel wings and do this circle of atonement. Oh man, this is so beautiful. So imagine, you just have to visualize this, but literally it's true. There's a huge sun, meaning source, above your head, and there's a great ray that comes vertically down the middle of your head, all straight down the middle of you into the ground. That light illumines your entire form. After you've let go of the person you used to be, this shell, this skin is empty. Then that light can fill it. You're become enlightened, illumined, because the body is an image in the mind. So when the mind becomes awakened and illumined, because the body's an image in the mind, it becomes illumined. Jesus was this way. Buddha was this way. All these enlightened beings are this way. They walk around, but they are spirit, radiating spirit and light. So just see that light come out every cell of your body, radiate out. But also you can take that sun and have it go into your heart and radiate light out all your heart space. Just that sun just goes through every muscle, every valve, everything. And then picture that sun going into every vein and artery and just shining light through all that blood that's purifying and running it clean. Then picture the sun shining through all the marrow where it makes your red blood cells. It's shining that light, and that's what that light does. You can picture this, that light is really there. You can visualize this light going through all these things. But now I want you to visualize, and you can just put your arms to your sides or up above or out to the side, but picture like an embrace, like you're going to embrace somebody, but it's your wings. You've got your wings are making this circle, this embrace, and you're embracing all your loved ones. Put all your loved ones in that circle. Put all your close loved ones in that circle. Then if you're brave enough, you put the politicians or people or Putin, whoever, he is God. We don't approve these actions. We put him in the circle. Can you love the things you hate? Put all those things in this circle. But then I want you to just see that from your arms and your form, that light that's radiating, your form is behind here like a bird. You're the body of the bird or the body of the angel, and the wings are doing this circle in front of you. That light is radiating into that circle through all those people, all those events. Now I want you to picture the United States. Just picture the United States, the West Coast to the East Coast. Include Alaska and Hawaii in there. Then go down past Florida to Puerto Rico, that's down there. And even then when you're down there, do Cuba. Just put them all in that circle. Put this United States in that circle. Now see that circle of atonement. It's all pure and innocent. And shine your light. It even came to me the other day. This is so funny. That light actually downloads out of the top of your head. You can take that light, and you know how baking channels that people go, bam, they just bam, they'll put flowers somewhere. You can just take your mind and go, bam, take the big, huge column of light and just bam it, radiate it in through the whole United States. And then it radiates through there. So this circle of atonement can be done anytime during the day for a brief second, like we can put Ukraine and Russia, China, Tibet, Nepal, India, Korea, all those people in this circle and share that love and light and peace that we are, and they are true too, but they just don't know it. In this embrace of your angel wings, you all are angels, and you can embrace yourself. The great thing about this is this intermeditation that it came to me when I saw a Facebook post of that Lama Surya Das, that he was talking about inner meditation. And that is the art of practicing the art of intimacy and union with things just as they are. Simply as they are. We're not changing Russia. We're not changing Ukraine. We're not changing the United States. We're not changing any of this. We are embracing the illusion. We are bringing light into the illusion. And as a result, you're bringing that light into your own Christ mind, reminding yourself what you are. And your unconscious mind believes all of this. Whatever you talk about and think about, your unconscious mind believes that's you. So when you want, you go bring your, I know that wasn't much of a meditation, you're not being very, we weren't pausing, be quiet. You can bring your attention back to this place or your place, but you can use that meditation to, you are angels. Don't you love that? And your arms are the embrace of the wings of the angel that you can embrace your brothers, your loved ones, and then people you don't even know. Oh gosh. Now, so I'll go back to my to my outline. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, now here's what brought all this up is I read that Facebook post from Lama Surya Das. So, and it made me realize I was doing INTER dash meditation when I walk. And then I had to think back what I did, some of these steps that came, I guess Holy Spirit put the thoughts in my mind. I didn't think to do this. And the Dzogchen group, they talk about a thing called cutting through of the image. And when I thought about that, I thought, well, I can cut through images because I wanted to cut through the images to remember the spirit that they were and the light that they were. And so as I walked, I would cut through trees and shrubbery and people. And when I did that, they became two parts. And what was between the two parts was space. And I realized that is the clear light. In Dzogchen, they call it emptiness, pure emptiness, but it's not empty at all. It's full. It contains the origin of all things, the living God. So I would see that space, and I did that enough that at this definition of what he did became this atonement, meaning the atonement. But here is the quote of what his, page 2, is of what this Facebook post was. And what is INTER meditation? It means, this is Lama Surya Das writing this, it means meditating with the practice and art of intimacy, union with whatever is just as it is. It is the yoga of convergence, connection, communication, and spontaneous oneness. It's a path we can take to overcome alienation and loneliness, and eventually all our illusions of duality. So when I read that, I realized two things were going on. First, with inner meditation and thinking of your brother as Christ, spirit, whole, pure, and innocent, and yourself as spirit, Christ, Buddha, what you're doing, you're practicing spontaneous oneness with them. You may not be realizing that's what you're doing, but that's what you're doing. And some people will experience where they'll just feel one. They'll feel joined up or in union with either a thought or with a breath with a person or with a mind of a person, or you just feel very loving towards a person. It's hard to describe, but that's a form of union. Practice an art of intimacy and union with whatever is just as it is. But see, what I'm wanting to express is we're not here to change what shows up in my front of my face. If I'm upset, angry, and irritated, I've made this stuff real, and it's no longer a dream. But before Dzogchen, I didn't really know how to do this. I just would take my feeling to recognize what thought did I just have when I was thinking poorly of somebody, or actually saying, I hate that, I realized that we use our feet, and Jesus tells we use our feeling and our mood to tell us what we're thinking. So then I bring that thought to mind, and I practice advanced forgiveness on the person. And what we're doing, we're really inner meditating. We're not changing the situation. We're not changing the person. You're inter meditating. So just try it sometime if you're out walking, to be open, relaxed, and just think about that the shrubbery and the trees all have this light streaming through them. Remember, like we've talked about in meditation, that light that's coming down straight through the middle of your head, it's coming down everybody's head. They just don't know it. Every bug, every tree, they all got light in them. So you want to just try it. Try to see that light, think of that light streaming through them, even consider just cut through the middle of them, take them apart, and see that clear, it's clear light and space. And what happened is and I've explained this in some prior talk, felt union with everything that was projected around me. I didn't change them. Just the trees and shrubs were still there, but union with the light that I was. Now, see, that is one step, because the ultimate step that you get to is, that each person's Christ and Buddha, but this is a dream. And you've realized this dream is projected on the clear light of God mind. Remember, I was talking about you can't defile God. You can't defile God. So these are steps we're doing to get to where the mind's awakened and the heart's opened and then the mind's illumined. So this next illustration might help you realize it's a dream and how the projections are. Here in that Dzogchen LA group where I meditate Monday through Saturday, typically with them, the leader, his name's Timo Speckens. He leads us in meditation and will give stories and stories, chants, prayers, truths from different books. And I do not remember, I apologize, I don't remember where this came from, but here's the story that he told. It was, there was a Hindu man and an Englishman, and they were in a garden. They were sitting in a garden. And the Hindu man asked the Englishman, what is behind the shrubbery? He asked him that question, what's behind the shrubbery? And the Englishman replied, a tree. And the Hindu man asked, what is behind the tree? The Englishman replied, the clouds. The Hindu man asked, what is behind the clouds? And the Englishman said, the sky. And then the Hindu man says to him, what is behind the sky? Wow, that really got me. That was such a perfect example of the sky's not even real. It's part of our movie, our dream, our hallucination. Okay, but what's behind the sky? Because now picture though, the sky, in front of the sky, then we got the clouds, we got earth, the planet. We got on the planets, the trees, the shrubbery, the lakes, the blah, blah, blah. All these images, right? But that's the projections. The whole Course of Miracles says we're projecting these images. So just, I hope that helps, because picture, we've projected not just our own bodies, but your house, your yard, the garden. But you look up, we projected the clouds, we projected the sky. But what did we project them on? We projected it on the clear light of God mind. The vast expanse, the vast holiness, the vast purity, the vast living Tao, it can be called, the origin of all things, the God, the living God. That clear light that looks, when you look past me or anybody on the meeting, that space that looks around us, it looks like emptiness or space. What I'm talking about, if you just picture behind the sky is the clear light. So of God. So now Holy Spirit brings that light to this false realm. In essence, this is still dualism. We still are our mind and subject, and then object, sky, object, clear light, mind. But that's the closest you can get in duality, is to remember this is a sitcom. This is a dream. And when Jesus says these are projections, the projections got to get projected on something. Well, maybe that'll help you. Then when you're watching, like I was watching a baseball game in the playoffs for the World Series, every once in a while, what I came to was what I want to get to is in that quote of Lama Surya Das's, that inner meditating got to the second part of the definition was, where's page 2? It's a path we can take to overcome alienation and loneliness. See, now that'll be the oneness. No one were one with things, right? But eventually, what he says here, that's the last little 4 or 5 words. Eventually, you're going to overcome all illusions of duality. And that's this second step where you're sitting watching TV. Just tell yourself, you don't have to get this totally. You're faking it while you make it. Have a sticky note by your end table. This is a sitcom. And then just picture what is behind when they're playing on the baseball diamond, behind the sky. God, clear mind. What's behind my house? If I cut that baseball player in half, what is he? Clear light God, because then you've cut through the image, the projection, and you've got to the core of what everything is, which is spirit and light in this world of the real world that you awaken to, that the Course talks about. I thought that was a great illustration. Okay, now, of course, everybody's path is specific to them. And I want to reaffirm, just because it's an illusion, a dream, a hallucination, we never, ever put the body in harm's way. I visit the doctor, like I got my 6-month visit tomorrow. Well, that's the dentist. Thursday. Do whatever you do, vitamins, whatever you want to do. I'm the middle way, not off in either ditch. We're not all just extremely practicing spiritual work, or we're denying everything. Everything's just, you always got to complete a statement with its nihilism is nothing. If there's nothing here. There is a higher power. There is God. There is the origin of all things. Our Father, our Creator. But the middle way is you practice your spiritual truths as you live your life. But the key is to apply them to your daily life. That's where the rubber hits the road. Anyway, but everybody's path is specific to them. I'm just share different tools I've used to how to heal this perception. Back to what the atonement is. Jesus says it's healing of correction of perception. The means of atonement is forgiveness. We're correcting our perception from false perception to true perception. And the means of the atonement is this advanced true forgiveness that you all are practicing, where you look past a person's body to the spirit, the clear light spirit that's here now, or you say to them all of it, or you say, you are spirit, whole, pure, and innocent, all is forgiven and released. You don't have to believe it. You just say it. I said it for 5 years, 4.5 years, something like that. And it's miraculous. But I didn't really know what I was doing, and that I should be doing it as often as I can. Because like Jesus says here in that page 5, wasn't it? Where was the page 5 about? As you peace, and you will find ever increasing confidence in your safe inclusion in the circle with everyone you bring within its safety. Peace then be unto everyone who becomes a teacher of peace. That's what you all are. For peace is the acknowledgement of perfect purity. Within its holy circle, no one's excluded, is everyone whom God created. Stand quietly within the circle and attract, bring in all tortured minds to join with you in the safety of its peace and holiness. Abide within me, with me, meaning Jesus, within it as a teacher of atonement, not guilt. Here's chapter 16 about atonement. That you always choose between truth and illusion. See, that's what you're doing all day long. Between the real atonement that would heal and the ego's atonement that would destroy. The power of God and all his love without limit will support you as you seek only your place in the plan of atonement arising from his love. Be an ally of God and not the ego in seeking how atonement can come to you. Let's see then. Okay. Then when you accept a brother's guiltlessness, you will accept the atonement in him. Wow. You see, you're doing him a big favor. When you accept a brother's guiltlessness, think of him as Christ, Buddha, or God, you will see the atonement in him. For by proclaiming it in him, you make it yours, and you will see what you sought. You will not see the symbol of your brother's guiltlessness shining within him while you still believe it's not there. His guiltlessness is your atonement. Wow. Wow. Grant it to him, and you will see the truth of what you have acknowledged. His guiltlessness is your atonement. Well, if that isn't another big reason why we practice Jesus's advanced forgiveness on everything that shows up in front of your face. Wow. I hadn't found these quotes till I searched for atonement. Bring innocence to light. See, that's what we're doing by this practice in answer to the call of the atonement. Never allow purity to remain hidden, but shine away the heavy veils of guilt within which the Son of God has hidden himself from his own sight. We are all joined in the atonement here, and nothing else can unite us in this world. So will the world of separation slip away and full communication be restored between the Father and the Son. From everyone whom you accord release from guilt, you will inevitably learn your innocence. Yay. Wow. Boy, this is so simple. It's so simple. But think how the huge ramifications of all of this. It's just huge to practice this advanced forgiveness. Now, there's more quotes here about this. Your sole responsibility of the miracle worker is to accept the atonement for himself. This means you recognize that the mind is the only creative level. And see, that's what you're doing with you're correcting false perception to remember that you are spirit, you are Christ, Buddha, God. Now, we're a little early at 7:48, but anybody got any thoughts or comments that they want to share while we're recording or questions that might help our viewers?
Yeah, I got something, Glenda.
Okay. Hi, Gonzalo.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah, great.
Good. Yeah, again, thank you, because it's taken us all back to our one mind. It's taken us back into our true state of our being, which is the oneness. And again, I love how we refer to the fact that if we would have known, how much time we would have saved on the journey, because this is helpful to all of the sonship, to all of us, whether no matter how far along or how far back you think you are on your journey. I think that really remembering, just practicing, even if you don't believe in it, even if you think it's total BS, to be willing to practice, keyword practice, that everything we're seeing, all of our separate pieces of our brother out there that we have as separate identities, that they're all in our minds. They're all in our minds. And it's so important. Remember, we don't have to believe it. We can fully believe this is a bunch of BS. We just need to be willing to practice it. That's all. Again, the alternative is to go back to the ego and just kind of think, well, I'm stuck here with all these separate identities and I just better just suck it up and do the best I can in life. How does that feel, as opposed to thinking, even if this appears to be BS now, how about just imagining the possibility of it being true, that we are truly just one spirit, we're just one light of God. Just to imagine that gives us a sense that there's a better existence beyond the one that we believe we were stuck with. Just the imagination. That's where our mind's imagination is so immensely powerful to help move us in the direction of escaping this dream. And it's just, again, calling us to imagine the possibilities if we were to really do the work. That's all. We don't have to believe it at first. And that, again, that took me years to get that. I'm just talking to myself here. I love that paraphrasing, but I love that teaching by Jesus. We're just looking at ourselves. We're just looking, not in the physical sense, we're looking at the projections of our mind, our one mind, which appear to be separate stories and separate bodies. And therein lies the complexity of the ego in trying to figure out the ego. But really just imagining, the first step, really, I would tell any new course student to help save us time. What would I tell Gonzalo going into the first course group when I was, 38 years old? What would I tell Gonzalo on the first day of exposure to the Course in Miracles? Just to practice using that really powerful imagination, which the ego has hijacked, just to imagine that we are only the light of God. All day long, as you're going through the day, as I'm going through my exercises, still doing the reading, still doing the text, still doing my meditation, and all those things are essential. But just use that powerful of imagination to bring our mind back to, because we do need the alternate thought. It's one thing to do the exercises and then get caught in the ego's trap of intellectualization, which we will. But then it's another thing to have something else to focus on, something else to simplify, something else to clarify around. We need something else to hold on to, as opposed to just doing the exercise without an alternate focus. So again, I emphasize so much that use our powerful imaginations for purposes of purification and cleansing, which has been the words that have become more present for me, as opposed to just saying the spiritual journey of the spiritual road, which can mean a lot of different things. But purification to me feels more direct toward our purpose. So that's within our hands and within our power right now. Let's use our mind's imagination to just start making that part of our regular framework and context as we go through the day. So that's all I got. Thank you so much.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. That's the word. We've used our imagination to make up these false images. We've misused the power of the mind for darkness. So you're right. We can use it for the purity of the clear light. Now you had me, I thought of something while you were talking now, Gonzalo, so it's the mind, and in the clarification of terms, Jesus says the mind is the creating agent of spirit. And see, that's what we're using. We're using the mind to think about that we're spirit, we're light, okay? And then also that there's the big big M mind, the Christ mind. But what came to mind for people that may listen to this later or whatever about the course, these projections that I'm saying, what's behind the shrubbery when you look at what's behind the tree, you know, the clouds, the sky. Well, just picture those projections look like they're out there. Well, they're not. We're mentally reviewing them in our mind, okay? But that can come later. First, we're using this outside projection as a way to get back home, how to think about this. Because as you realize behind the projected sky is the clear light God mind, that's your own mind. In your mind, there's only clear light. There really is. When you awaken, that's all there'll be is this clear light radiating out. And so even either if it doesn't matter if you think this behind the skies, the clear light out there, slowly you're going to bring your thoughts back to, oh yeah, but that's all my projections here in my mind. It's all a dream. This is all a projection. These are all projections. What's behind the projections? There's no longer the form there then. There's no head. There's no body, no B-O-D-Y. There's just mind that you can't see. You can't see it. So this clear light mind is what's here, whether there's the body and the head or not. But we've used that clear. So picture, I don't have a head. I've used the power of the mind. I've taken the clear light power of God and I projected images on it. Some of them. And then we look there, they look projected outside the body. So look at it both ways. Still the sky outside that looks projected, that behind that sky is the clear light God mind. Or if you close your eyes and you picture the sky in your mind. Well, what's behind that sky? There's no sky. There's no clouds. They're just clear God-like mind in my mind. I hope that makes sense. I don't want people to think that I'm talking total, because the course is teaching there is no world. There is no, but how do you put your hands around that? Well, he's getting us to put our hands around it by thinking of our brother as pure, holy that he is, and bringing our judgment that are thoughts in our mind to undo them, correct our perception in our mind. Then because our mind becomes holy and pure, that's what we see outside with Christ's vision. This all goes hand in hand, because with Christ's vision, third eye vision, you see only God light. The projections are just, it's a dream that the projections are on top of the clear light mind, because that's what a projection is. That's why it can come and go. It's not permanent, because God's clear light mind, that's permanent. That doesn't change. That's why thoughts come and go, and images come and go, and people live and die, and animals live and die, and trees live and die, because it's all images coming and going falsely from the egoic mind. And they're projections, but we're looking past the projections to what the reality of the world that we've projected to the real world, which is the Garden of Eden. And somewhere in one of these quotes, it said that earth and something would not become separate. I went, wow, there's that, back to the Garden of Eden before the separation state. Oh man, I should have marked that. Oh, here it is. Heaven and earth shall pass away, means that they will not continue to exist as separate states. So what will happen is you will become spontaneous. That's what I think will happen, because that's what I'm experiencing. What Dzogchen teaches. You become spontaneously present, moment to moment. You're no longer living in the past. You're not living in the future. You're not living in the present. You're not examining, trying to manipulate, control things. You're resting in this view of this clear light mind. That's why meditation is so important. You're resting in that view. And what happens, you end up, there's just barely skin here, and they're just light radiating out. But you've embraced the whole universe with your angel wings. Your body is the whole universe is your body, your heart, mind, and all beings are your heart, mind, and soul. You are embracing all universes, all dimensions of time and space, all the projections within your big angel embrace of love and light. And then you're spontaneously present moment to moment, going with the flow of what shows up in front of your face. Your relatives come and go to visit. You go to Thanksgiving dinner somewhere. You go to Christmas somewhere. You go to vacation somewhere. You go go take care of somebody, or you're thinking of the spirit. All this is the flow. It's called dancing with life then. You're dancing with life from the spontaneously present awareness of your Christ mind, Buddha mind. Not judging your brothers, you're helping your brothers, thinking of them as spirit, being asking Holy Spirit, guide me what to do or say. It will become natural. You will have your innate Christ natural self operating in the world. All your senses are heightened and purified. Your body's an image in the mind, and it's used as a channel, walking around, letting the light and love of Christ, Buddha, God radiate and help go out to your brothers. But yet we're not attached or pushing away the universe or labeling things good or bad, liking or disliking. But yet you can plan and budget and decide where you can forgive somebody, but not invite them to Thanksgiving dinner. See them as love. You all get that, but that's the integration of this. We're not, you'll live in the world, but you're not of it. You'll be responding, not reacting. You'll be coming from love, not fear. All the things that Jesus teaches in the Course comes to fruition. Is true. This guy knows what he's doing. Anyone else got a comment or a thought? Wow. This atonement is pretty miraculous. Your sole responsibility is to accept the atonement for yourself and offer it to your brothers, which is practicing advanced forgiveness. Yay! Comes back to how you think of your brother. You think of yourself and bring yourself into the circle of the atonement. If there's not any other thought or comment, I will stop the recording. But, oh, wait. Let's pick 2 or 3 people on the screen and practice advanced forgiveness on them. It's that simple. You say either all of it or you are spirit, whole, pure, and innocent. All is forgiven and released to the person. We don't have to believe it. I didn't believe it. Once in a while, I still don't believe it. And I go, what? I got to practice some more on that person. Yeah, Gonzalo, thank you, each of you. Holy Son of God, Nance, for coming out. God, Holy Son of God, Barbie, coming out. Holy Son of God, Edward, for coming out. God, Holy Son of God, Leon, coming out. Holy Son of God, Francis, for coming out. Angela, Holy Son of God, God. Gonzalo, Holy Son of God, God. Sally, Holy Son of God, God. Corrine, Holy Son of God, God. Debbie, Holy Son of God, God. Julia, Holy Son of God, God. Linda, Holy Son of God, God. Buddha, you the Buddha. You the Christ. Oh, man. Wow, there's only God. Doesn't that make sense? There's only God. But it sure looks like something's different. But we still do our part. Not be guided to give some money for some cause or go help it with a cause or pray or embrace them with your angel wings. You know, you may be guided to do something in the world, but yet you're practicing advanced forgiveness on the people while you're doing it. Like when I go to the dentist tomorrow, I'll practice on my hygienist. I'll think of her as a spirit, and the receptionist people, the people in the lobby. I'm not kidding. It's just that rote. It becomes, and when I can, I don't do it always. Picture my dentist's office is in the movie. I'm in the section of the movie that I'm in the dentist's office. Okay, you all get the point. Thank you all for coming out. I'm going to stop the recording.